How do you implement a strategy you actually disagree with? This comes up all the time in local government. Sometimes it's a council decision, sometimes it's a state government reform, sometimes it's a restructure, a new service model, or a political priority that you would not have chosen yourself. And the question I hear again and again sounds like this: I don't agree with the decision, but I'm expected to make it work. This tension exists at every level, from executives right through to people working on the front line. And today I want to talk about how to handle that without burning out, disengaging, or quietly sabotaging the work. Because this is not about blind compliance, and it is not about quiet resistance either. It's about leadership maturity. The real dilemma. Most leadership models assume alignment. A strategy is set, everyone buys in, and teams execute. But in local government, reality is much messier. Decisions are shaped by elected representatives, budgets, legislation, political timing, and community pressure. You can care deeply about public value, governance, and your people, and still think the direction that has been chosen is wrong. So the real question becomes, if I cannot change the decision, how do I lead well inside the constraints that I have? I read an article from Harvard Business Review that captured this perfectly. The key idea was simple. When you cannot change the decision, you still control how it is experienced. And in local government, that distinction matters a lot. So step 1, stabilize yourself. Before you lead anyone else, you have to steady yourself. When a strategy lands that clashes with your values or judgment, your nervous system reacts. Frustration, defensiveness, guilt, sometimes resentment. A lot of leaders skip this step and go straight to execution, but their team can feel the emotional weight straight away. Stabilizing yourself does not mean agreeing with the strategy. It means accepting reality so that you can lead with clarity instead of reactivity. So ask yourself, what is fixed and what is still able to be influenced? What is fact and what is my interpretation? Where do I still have agency as a leader? In local government, you might not control the council decision, the budget, or the timing, but you almost always have more influence over how implementation unfolds than you think. And one important thing here, acceptance is not weakness. It is being realistic. Sometimes you also need to be honest with yourself. If a decision fundamentally violates your values, it may mean that the organization is no longer the right fit for you. Staying in deep misalignment leads to burnout and toxicity. Step 2, focus where leadership actually matters. Once you've grounded yourself, the next risk is trying to fight everything. Strong leaders do not spread their energy everywhere. They choose where their effort will have the biggest impact. Research consistently shows that managers account for around 70% of the difference in how engaged teams are with a new strategy. That means how you lead with day-to-day matters more than strategy document itself. So focus on the hardest conversations, not just the easiest tasks. Protecting your team's capacity, not just reporting upwards. Reframing disagreement as curiosity rather than resistance. You can ask questions like, help me understand the intent behind this. What risks should we be mindful of as we implement? Where is the flexibility in how this gets delivered? That keeps you credible and constructive rather than being seen as someone who just blocks things. Step 3, lead people through the transition. Strategies might make sense on paper, but their impact on people rarely does. In local government, teams are constantly dealing with change. New priorities, new compliance, new structures, new political directions, and often all of this is at once. So when you disagree with a strategy, it can be tempting to emotionally check out and just push through. That is where trust erodes fastest. The real leadership question becomes, if this change is happening, how do I make it as fair, clear, and human as possible? That looks like explaining the strategy in plain language, being honest about what is known and what is not, pushing for realistic workloads and timelines, creating psychological safety for people to raise concerns. You may not control the destination, but you absolutely shape the journey. Step 4, protect trust in all directions. Trust is your most valuable currency when alignment is imperfect. This is where a lot of leaders stumble. They either over-identify with the decision and lose credibility with their team, or they distance themselves from it and lose credibility with senior leaders. Protecting trust means being clear about what is fixed and where there is still influence. Keeping your tone consistent with everyone. Sharing what you know and naming what you do not. Advocating respectfully without undermining the decision. People do not expect you to agree with everything, but what they do expect is for you to be honest, steady, and fair. So I want to talk a bit for the people that are in the engine room, the people on the ground, planners, engineers, customer service teams, compliance, community development, project officers, and subject matter experts. The people who feel the impact of strategic decisions most directly and usually have the least influence over them. If you are in that space, the dilemma often sounds like, I didn't design this, I don't agree with it, but I'm expected to deliver it. That is not a personal failure. It is a structural reality of working in the public sector. The challenge is how to do that without disengaging, burning out, or quietly undermining the work. Separate the strategy from your identity. One of the biggest energy drains is taking strategic decisions personally. It can turn into, they don't value what we do, no one listens, why should I care? Those reactions are understandable, but they are corrosive. A healthier frame is this. This is a decision I am responsible for implementing. It is not a judgment on my worth, competence, or integrity. You can disagree and still do good work. That separation protects your energy. So focus on execution quality. Even when the what is set, the how usually is not. You still influence how the community experiences a change, how respectfully people are treated, how risks are identified, how problems are escalated, how much unnecessary friction exists. Average strategies succeed when execution is thoughtful. If you cannot change the direction, make the delivery ethical and professional. Use curiosity, not quiet resistance. Silent disengagement is one of the most damaging patterns in organizations. Instead, try curiosity. Can you help me understand the intent? What risks are you most worried about? Where is there flexibility on the ground? That keeps you psychologically engaged and gives leaders insight they often do not have. Raise impacts, not attitudes. You are not responsible for fixing strategy, but you are responsible for raising risks professionally. Describe impacts, not motives. Use evidence and patterns. Separate concern from frustration. Use the right channels. That is part of serving the community. Protect your energy long term. So, long-term misalignment leads to cynicism and burnout. If you feel that happening, ask, what boundaries do I need? Who do I need to talk to? Is this temporary or a deeper mismatch? Most people who last in local government have not always agreed with the direction, but they learn how to protect their energy. So in closing, whether you are setting strategy or delivering it, one thing is true. You will not always agree with what is in front of you. What defines professionalism in local government is not how much you agree, but how you show up, how you treat people, how you raise concerns, how you execute, how you protect trust. You can disagree and still lead with integrity. You can deliver a strategy without abandoning your values. And you can protect both your people and yourself while doing it.